completed BA from MS University, Tirunelveli, and MA from Bhajar University, and PhD from University of Kaiserslautern, Germany. And he has done many research collaboration with various foreign universities like University of Cape Town, South Africa, and Institute of Engineering Mechanics, University of College of Germany, and Institute of Mechanics, TU Carbon, Germany, and School of Civil Engineering, University of Nottingham, UK. So apart from that, he has worked many colleges and foreign universities as a lecturer and postdoctoral fellowship, visiting scientists and simulation engineers. And his area of research interest: ferroelectrics, electroactive polymers, smart composites, magnetospective materials, experimental characterization, and material modeling. And once again, thanking you, sir, and once again, pleasure to welcome you. And please,
thank you for my introduction. Good morning to all of you, sir. So 9 o'clock in the morning, I hope all of you are fresh. Good. So today we are going to discuss a little bit about what do you mean by strength of material. So I hope all of you are mechanical engineers. So all of you are mechanical. So we'll start from engineering mechanics. Probably you would have done engineering mechanics already, right? And then you will be doing now strength of material. So we'll try to connect both together, and then we can see what we can learn today from these topics. Right? To start, before the topic, I just want to tell you something. So you would have seen this one. I will ask a lot of questions so that you don't sleep and I won't sleep. Okay? Yeah. Have you seen this one, sir? What is it called? Piece of wood, okay, but the other name for that? Flavored? One piece? What are the different names I could call? Can you see any difference of this kind of material? So before we go for that one, I just want to ask you, you are seeing in the ground something, right? So there is a pasting of some sheets on that one. What can you say from this one? Why do we put this kind of a sheets? What is called? What is called? What, sir? We always used to listen to the topics, but now you are asking a lot of questions, starting questions. That's very important, I suppose. Because it is the way how we are going to think about the topic rather than listening to me. So you should stop me whenever I keep on talking. That means you have to ask a lot of questions. Okay. So can you see what it is pasted in the ground floor or in the ground of where we are sitting is, and what is the significance about that one? Or you would have seen that one, the dais, particularly those people who are trying to do the dancing and so on. So the dais is made up of which material, sir? You would have seen in the TVs, or you would have seen where you presented somewhere, or some cultural functions, they will be making the ground or the dais either with the cement, concrete structure, or with polished structures, or something like a composite material, or it could be a wooden material. Have you seen somewhere? Huh? Polished material. Okay. What else, sir? I need answers from you. If it is not correct, that's okay, no problem at all. I'll put it different. Suppose I have a knee pain. I'm going daily jogging. Some of you will be done and you will be doing that one. Would you prefer to walk in the tar road or would you prefer to walk in the ground? Why, sir? There will be ups and downs if I walk in the ground, like where we will be playing around that one. But if you look at the tar road or if you look at a concrete road, it will be straight. Right? So you may not need to give too much of your energy for going ups and downs. But when you walk in the ground, you should be a bit careful because there may be bump and rebound here and there, so you should be a bit careful about that. But still, if you see, the doctors would be suggesting to walk in the ground rather than in the concrete roads or the tar roads. Is there any reason for that? Blood circulation will be good. Why? In what sense? Okay, okay. So I will, yeah. So I am showing you some pictures, right? I am trying to show something here. You don't need to look at it at all, but if you look at the first one, which you would have done already in your engineering mechanics, little different way. What can you identify from this picture? Forget about this again to look at it only the first one. It's first row. Huh? Walking? Way of walking, okay. Sir, you started off wood and then you went for the dancing wires and then now you are showing something different. Is there any relations what I am trying to talk one over the other? Friction. Exactly. What is the friction? What do you mean by friction, sir? Do we need friction or don't we need friction? You need friction in all places or not? That's why do we need bearings? When we have a shaft, we will be using the bearings, right? Then why do we need bearings that one? Bearings are obviously reducing the friction. We will be also using the greases and other material for that one. Why do we need to use that one? Then whether we need a friction in that place? So there is in some places we need friction and in some places we don't need friction. Why do you do not want to have a friction, sir? So in other words, the energy or the force I need to drive that one, that should be high. So I don't want in particular in some places wherein we will be reducing the friction. In some places we need definitely a friction. How do you increase the friction? More rough surfaces. Yes or no, sir? So if you have a polished surface, can you walk? Like, you can definitely walk, no doubt about that one. But what will happen? Stability will be less. So for that reason, when you are dancing, and would you prefer to have a rough surface or would you prefer to have a polished surface? Polished surface. Polished surface, the answer is yes. Well, so you don't need to give much energy for that one, but what will happen to the stability? So, the other one is, if you look at it sometime, when you are trying to walk, what will happen? Can you keep all the time both the legs to the ground? When you are jogging, will you keep both the legs all the time in the ground? No. Yes or no, sir? No. In that case, the self weight of our body, let's take 60 kg. Is it going to go all the time distributed by using the two legs? No. So obviously the total load has to be go through the only one leg. So what will happen because of that reason? The load will be very high, right? And it is a repetitive load which is going to transfer from one to the other one. That's what you would have done sometime in your engineering mechanics. That is when you talk about the engineering mechanics, let us not discuss about the dynamics, let us discuss about only the statics. What is the famous equation you will be using, sir? What will be the famous equations we will be using? Only one equation you will be using all the time in your engineering mechanics. What is that equation? Any idea? I am sure that one you would have done already that. What is that equation, sir? Somebody is telling. What is that equation? Huh? Exactly, it is just a force equilibrium. Have you heard about this equation, sir? So in a static case, what will you do? In a static case, what will you do here? M into A, what is A? So what will be deciding about the acceleration in a static case? So it will be considered to be a 0. So you will have only sigma m equal to 0. This is what we will be distinguishing it into sigma fx, sigma fy, sigma fz. Do we have any more equations to that one? Exactly. So we will have moment equilibrium as well. This is the very basics you would have done in your engineering mechanics. So wherein we will be talking only about the forces and moment. We don't talk anything more than that. Yes or no, sir? So frictional is one kind of a force, right? We will be having a statics and we will be having a dynamics. Let us forget about the dynamics. We will take only the static conditions. So all said and done that, if I am going to state, if I want to have a static equilibrium to meet, what will be the first step you will be doing when you want to solve this? What will you do first? I will put it little different. I will take a cantilever beam, a force P is applied. Right, sir? So what will be the first step you will be doing that? Or in other words, this is a diving pad in a swimming pool. Okay? So diving pad in the swimming pool. So what I am trying to do, whatever you have this pad, I am trying to simulate here is something like a cantilever beam arrangement. In a way that one, the diving pad is fixed to the column. So I will be neglecting this part and simplify it like this. Right? The self height of the person who is going to stay there, I will be replacing with a point force P. Okay? So now, when I want to solve this one, what will you do? What do you mean by this solving? As a designer, I am giving you a problem that one, I want to design this particular column. When I want to design the particular column, what will be the first step you will be solving? Okay, sum of the all forces is equal to 0. In other words, what it renders? I want to find out the equilibrium condition. What do you mean by that? Okay. Force along the horizontal axis and vertical axis. Okay. Okay. So I give another example. See, in this room we are 100 plus participants. Okay. So I am telling the civil engineer, there will be a room. I have to design a room in such a way that inside there will be 100 occupants. Assume that a person who has 60 kg on average weight, so 6000 kg of the weight should be withstand inside the room. This is the input. As a layman, I am giving you. I am a layman. I don't know. I am giving that one, the length and the width and the height of the room, so and so, and the occupants which is going to be inside that one, something like 100 plus people. I want to make a design out of that one. How a layman like me, I am giving an information to a designer, and the designer is trying to fix the whatever we have, the entire surface and the ground and the columns and so on so. So when he does that one, what is the first step we will be doing on that? Huh? Okay, one is idea. Suppose I stand here, if I don't have this floor, what will happen to me? So, what this floor is trying to do? What is the other name for that one? See, this is, I am keeping this one, okay? So, this is going to stand like this. in a floor. Assume this is going to be my floor. So if I don't have this floor, what will happen? This will come down. Okay, I have a floor, but instead of this thick part, I am keeping a A4 size sheet. It's very thin. Will it be withstanding that one? Why? I am not talking about this stress. So far I don't discuss anything about this stress. The strength, okay? How the strength is calculated, sir?
Opposing force, sir.
Exactly. So first I have to find out the reaction forces. So the reaction forces only first we have to do. So what we will do, if the force is in equilibrium, assume this one is the fixed condition and there is a force P is applied. This is my self weight is going to apply. What will be the first step I will do? Reaction force. In order to get the reaction force, what would have been done in your engineering mechanics? Have you heard about the free body diagram? The first step is we have to draw the free body diagram. What do you mean by the free body diagram? All the external forces and the reaction forces plus, do we need to add something? The self weight, which we call as sometimes a body force. It is not necessary all the time the body force is going to be the self weight, body force is going to be the self weight. It will be also time to time it will be subjected to the magnetic fields. So that will also comes under the part of that one. So what do you mean by the body force? Each and every particles in the body will be subjected to the same amount of the force. It is something called as a volume. But it is very difficult to apply in all these places. What we will be doing? We will be trying to identify the center of gravity for that one. Try to apply the total load at that particular point. Why do we call it the center of gravity? In other words, suppose I take this beam. Where will be the center of gravity? It's a one-dimensional case. Obviously, it is going to be at the center. Why do I say it is going to be center of gravity? If I have a body force, the body force is going to be equally in both the sides. So if I take a moment about the center part, what will happen? This will be trying to nullify. So whatever I can do is, whatever this force and that force, I can transfer to that particular point. That's what we will be doing. That is like a body force which will be applied in the center of gravity. Right, sir? The same way, what we will be doing is, first we will be drawing the free body diagram. To make a simplicity, what I will do is, I will remove the constraint. I will be removing the constraint and I will try to put the reaction force. From this only I will be writing this equation. So suppose this is my coordinate system x and y, sigma Fy equal to 0, and I will be assuming positive is towards the upward direction. So minus P plus R equal to 0. So R is going to be P. If this is satisfied, what is trying to tell me? The system is under the equilibrium condition. It's a simple example. So in other words, we will also discuss, or we will also already know that one, the energy cannot, you cannot destroy the energy. One kind of energy will be transferring into the other kind of energy. So suppose I am trying to walk. What will happen to that one? I will be reaching the place. So whatever I am giving the energy, I am generating the energy. How my body generates the energy? What I am trying to eat, that energy which is developed in my body will be transferred to other kind of an energy. It's a mechanical energy, could be because I am trying to walk. The other one, it will go as a dissipation. What is the dissipation? As a heat. So here we are not considering the additional part. We are assuming that one is a perfect design. So whatever the external force should be equal to the reaction force. So my design should be that one, if suppose this room consists of 6,000 kg of the people. So I have to design the floor in such a way that the reaction should be more than, at least it has to have, the reaction should be generated by, the ground should be 6,000 kg. That is the first step I have to do that one. So always I have to start with first the free body diagram, Then I have to look at the reaction forces, and then I have to look at it this one. If I know the reaction forces, the next step I will go for. Some of our friends are talking about the strength, talking about the stress, and so on. So from the forces to the stress and strain, that is a transition which we are going to talk about one or two times in these lectures. That's what we call from engineering mechanics to strength of materials. So the next design, okay, I am a designer. What I did is, okay, it is done that one, I know 6000 kg has to be designed for this floor. The length and the width of the room is given to me. I cannot change anything out of that one. I know the reaction force has to be 6000 minimum. But all the time we cannot say it has to be 6000. So we will be adding the factor of safety. Have you heard about the factor of safety? Maybe in strength of materials we will be learning about that one, which is nothing but I cannot design for 6000 kg. I have to design for something towards additional to that one. So you would have seen that one in our city buses. I don't know whether it is written now or not, but earlier days they used to write that one. Sitting people is 40 plus 2 plus stand is something like a 20 people. So which is will be the different in abroad than India. So in abroad they don't allow anyone to stand. So the design will be 40 seats plus one driver or so on so. So 50 is the load which they have to design the chassis for that one. But here it cannot be done. So I cannot use the factor of safety 1. I have to add that one. So 40 plus 2 plus 30. But in a peak time, do you think so only 30 people are standing in that one? Now if I design for that one, what will happen? Obviously it is going to fail. Then the people will come and ask me that one, I am not going to buy your bus because it is failing very frequently. So what should I do? I should be designing for the condition that instead of 30 standees, I should be considering some more amount. Probably I will identify that one. Another 30 persons may be a possibility to stand. That's what we call as the factor of safety. So I am not going to make it for 30 people or 30 kg. I will be doing for 45 kg or 60 kg. So the factor of safety is going to be 1.5 times or 2 times, or it will be more than that. So that is the second set of the I will be looking for. The third one, what I am trying to do, what can maximum I can change here, sir? I know that one, the reaction forces. The length and width of this room is given by the person who wants to do the construction. What is another one I can try to change that one? In a 3-dimensional case, I can change only the thickness. There is a possibility to change the thickness of the concrete. Okay, that is the one thing. The second thing what I could do, I should be understanding what kind of a material I want to use that one. Can I use a rubber material as a float? Why? If I use a rubber, what will happen? It will be, why is it going to bending? Do you think so the current structure is not going to bend? The existing concrete structure will also subjected to a bending, but the bending will be, we cannot see with our naked eyes. But if I put a material of a rubber, then you cannot see the person who is at the center of that one. He will be not in a position to sit. So you can nicely make it an arc kind of a stuff. So like this side, they will be slanting, the other side will be slanting in this direction. So that's the way how it is being right? So I don't want to use a rubber material. Then what will happen? I have to identify a right material for that one. Therein, what I will try to find out? I will try to find out the strength of the material so that I can identify that, okay, this is the load which has to be carried, and for that what kind of a material do I need to take that one. That's the way how the transition is happening from the engineering mechanics to the strength of material. So we'll get back to what we had discussed that one. Like when you want to have a rough surface, your stability will be more. So that when you are going to dance, time to time, what will happen? Your center of gravity, when you are doing a dance, it is not going to be center of your body. It will be moving away from that one. Yes or no, sir? So if center of gravity is moving away from that one, what will happen? there will be an additional moment will be generating. So this is my body, let's say I am dancing in such a way that my center of gravity is not going to be at the center, it is moved somewhere away from that point. So what will happen to this point if the center of gravity is moved away from that point? I just take the force, whether the force are in under the equilibrium condition, it is not going to be in equilibrium condition. So what will happen to that one? This will try to generate a moment. When it is moment, what will happen? This is an additional force is going to come for that one. So where the additional force is going to transfer, sir? Obviously you will have an additional force. When the additional force are happening to that one, whether it is going to transfer in some way or it is going to subsidize. So I would give a little different, probably this may be able to understand. Okay, this is my cantilever beam. I am applying a force P at the center of that one. I give an example here. We are putting the fans, right? I want to change where the fan mounting from the existing place to the new place. When you are putting the fans, what is going to happen to that one? The self height of that fan, it is going to hang on that one. Right, sir? The concrete structure is such a way that it is very comfortable. The concrete structure is very comfortable so that the self height of the concrete is much higher than the fan weight. So we don't need to bother too much about that one. There are some places, what will happen? I have a force P. I want to change the force of P from, let's take this is the point A. I want to change the load from point A to point B. Can I straight away change the load? Can I straight away change the load? If I cannot do directly, what should I do? Huh? Like I have a cantilever beam, probably I can take a diving board. So I am standing at the center of that one. I understand that one, it doesn't give any influence for me. So I want to change my position from the center of the diving board to the edge, for whatever the reasons. Of course I can definitely go, no doubt about that one. But when it was designed that I should be looking at it, if the load is transferred from one point to the another point, whatever the additional penalty which is going to come, that has to be designed appropriately at the arrangement where it is going to be fixed to that one. Yes or no, sir? So same way I am trying to change the force P to the other point. What should I do, sir? Can I straight away change it? If I do, this is a mathematical point of view. If I do, is it the right one? No. So if I want to change the force, what will I do? I will be introducing a force here, equal and opposite. If I introduce a force equal and opposite, what will happen? What will be the reality? It's a virtual force. What do you mean by virtual? So something like that, I want to be in US or I want to be in Zurich. So that is a virtual thing. I am not in Switzerland, I am in Chennai. But my dreams are something like a virtual. So same way here, I am trying to apply a force. There is no force like that, but I am trying to assume that one equal and opposite force. If I take a reaction or if I calculate the sigma Fy along at this point, what will be this value? 0. So it doesn't matter. So I had introduced a force. Now what I will do is I will be keeping this force P in the same position, but the existing P and I am adding the additional P, this will try to make a. So if I want to change the force P from one point to the another point, what will happen? The force P will be there. On top of that one, there will be a moment or a couple which is nothing but P in here. This is going to come. Yes or no, sir? So if I want to transfer a force from one point to the another point, I have to give an additional penalty of a couple. Why do I do this one? If I do the proper calculations, then only I can give an appropriate cantilever beam boundary condition. Also, I have to design an appropriate length, width and thickness of the beams and column, and I have to select an appropriate material for that one. Yes or no, sir? Any question, please let me know. If you are not understanding, let me know. Any question, sir? So this is the way how we will be transferring that one. So why I am talking about that one? So when we are dancing that one, when I change my positions, my CG will be traveling from one place to the another place. I'll ask one more question before we go for the next step. Suppose when you are standing, all of you, if you stand and you close your eyes, do you feel that one you are stable? What will happen to that one? What will you feel then? So, if you do not think about anything and you focus on like yoga, stand for few minutes and look at it yourself, you experience yourself that one, your body will be moving left hand and right hand side. So you yourself can do. You feel that one you are stable, but reality that is not stable. So we are vibrating, but the vibrating frequency and the amplitude of vibration is negligible. That's what we say is, with respect, if I am standing, my stage, the center of gravity is somewhere at the center of the body. But if I close, you can see this one, I will be moving there, and automatically the nature gives me an idea that, okay, if I am moving like this, automatically I have to apply the additional force to the other side, so that I will be balancing myself and is happening. That is happening in our nature of our system, God made for us. Here we are trying to make an external this one. This is what we are calling about the equilibrium. When I talk about when I am standing, though I am static, the load is not a function of a time. I am just standing all the time, but still my body has to have the force equilibrium from one to the another one. With respect to the center point, there will be a moment also. So equal moment in both the directions, what will happen? This will get nullified. So same thing, when I am going to dance, I will be shifting my position, so my center of gravity will be moving, so that an additional equilibrium, additional moment is going to come like this. I am talking about the force. When I am dancing, my force P is same, but the center of gravity is going to change. So that will give an additional enforcement to my body, which is like giving a moment equilibrium. So it is something like I am trying to move like this, immediately I feel with my one leg, I am not able to stable, and my stableness will go away. So immediately what will I try to do? I will try to move to the other directions. It will be intuition, it will be happening. That's the way how we are trying to work it out. In that case, do I need a polished surface or do I need a rough surface? I need definitely a rough surface. That is the reason why when they are dancing, they will be making the dias. Literally they have to make the dias with wooden material, not with some other material. That is the reason also for that one. Sir, I can also make a very rough concrete surface for that one. The answer is right. You can make the friction will be very, very good. But what will be the problem if we keep on using a concrete and then we will keep on dancing on that one? Why is it paining? It is another word what we call as a cushioning effect. Theoretically, if you are talking, it is called as a damping. So damping is nothing but it's like a cushion. So if I am jumping on a rubber, so what will happen? It get pain ourselves? It won't be much. Why is happening? Obviously the load is the same. The time at which I am trying to move up and down, it is going to be the same. But what makes the change? That rubber is trying to absorb that one and it is going to dissipate that one. So the dissipation is very, very slow. It is not instantaneously it is happening to this one. For a damping, another one example, what you have the door locker. Not a door locker, it is like a door stopper. What is happening to this one? I apply a force, I remove my hand. So what will happen to that one? This will try to come back to the original state slowly. If I don't have, what will happen? It will be always open. So it will go either to this position, that's it. Or if I am not going to open completely, it will come back immediately back to the original position. So what is this is trying to try? This is trying to absorb the energy and trying to dissipate the energy in a slow way. So that's what we call as a damping. So you can also do it twice. You can also, it depends upon how much time you want. We will be telling to the carpenter that, sir, I want to fix it out. It should not close immediately. It has to be at least 15 seconds. He may not know the technical content. Immediately what he will do? He will go, there will be a screw and he will be trying to adjust the screw. What he is trying to do? There will be a chamfer inside and there will be a piston, there will be a fluid from one side to the another side. So the fluid will be flowing from one chamfer to the another chamfer via an orifice. It is like a hole. So he will be trying to control the diameter of the hole. If he is trying to control that one, the flow from one chamfer to the another chamfer will be controlled. It will be a slow pace of this one. Henceforth, what we are trying to do, I cannot make the floor with rubber material, though it is a very good damping, but what will happen? Whatever I want to do a dance, I cannot do. Because it will be too much of flexibility for that one. If I use a concrete, what will happen to this one? It is like a stone. So the damping will be very, very less. So whatever the reaction force is completely going to come to my knee. So that will be a painful for me. If I keep on doing a dancing for 2 years, then I have to go to the hospital. So I don't want that one. In a way that one, the damping will be in between these two. Probably that could be the place where wooden material will participate on that one. So it has to have a good friction. At the same time, it should also have a good damping effect for that one. Henceforth, people would prefer to go for that one. The same strategy is also used for when doctors suggest you to go for a jogging. You cannot walk or you cannot jog in the tar road or the concrete road. What will happen? The damping effect is very, very low. Suppose if I do in the ground, though it is ups and downs, but it will be very comfortable to that one. Because obviously the reaction force is going to come back to my knees. That's the problem about that. Okay. So now I will come back to this particular case. Suppose if you look at it, do you think it's called a wood or is there some name for this one? Sorry. It is called a plywood. Okay. Why do they call it a plywood, sir? Any idea? Definitely, this plywood is made up of with the classical wood, right? I may have a classical wood, I may be cutting it out and then doing in some way like a plywood. It is an additional process of doing that one. But still, nowadays we will be using lot of plywood. On top of that one, we will be putting a mica. That's a different story. That is for fancy. But inside, what we have is a plywood. What is the specialty about that one? Did you look at it sometime about that? Or have you looked at it, the cross section, sir? So what do you feel about the cross section? Layers. There are, suppose if you take it out here, it's a 6 layer. So individual layers are called as another name called plywood. That's why it is called as a layered wood. It is named as a plywood. Why do I need to do, sir? If you see, there are 6 layers and individual layer may be 1 millimeter thickness or 0.5 millimeter thickness. So from the big wooden material, I will be slicing it up. It's like a bread, and then I will be connecting together to this one. Why should I do this one, sir? Is there any reason for that? Increasing the strength. Okay. What is the other reason, sir? I will put one more question here. Do you know about this the sweet called son papadi? Okay. So, if you look at the microstructure of a son papadi, how it looks like, sir? It is like a, one is a layer, the other one is, it's like a thread. In other words, we call as like, that is called as a fiber. So, it's a lengthy one, the diameter will be very, very small. So, it's like a fiber. You can take independently, individually, but what the people used to do, they used to keep all together and press it and make a proper size out of that one. Square or whatsoever the case. So I want to divide that particular piece into 2 parts. Okay, I take a stone property. I want to divide into 2 parts. How do you do, sir? What is the great deal, sir? In other words, I am telling that one, the fibers or the thread kind of an arrangement is trying to crush like this. So whether you will be using your hands to split like this or the perpendicular to that one, which one you prefer? First one or the second one? Why you prefer first one? It is easy. Why is it easy? Because the first one is you are trying to split the fiber. The fibers are aligned along the directions. The other one is what you are trying to do. You are trying to cut the fiber. Cutting the fiber will be difficult than splitting that one. What do you mean by the cutting? What you would have done? You have to apply a tensile and compressive stress and make the system too weak, and then you have to do. So when you want to split that one, literally you are going to do. You can make an attempt later stage. Probably like you have to do twice or thrice to give a tensile and compressor, then only you can split it into two parts. But wherein if you want to do along the direction, it's just a splitting. So you need to split it into two parts. That's it. So that is the line right I am trying to give you here. That if you look at it here, you can see this one, the fibers are aligned in particular direction. You know that one. There will be a stem and then the main column of the wood, therein the fibers are aligned in this one. So the strength along the fibers are much higher than the other directions. So in other words, what I do is, I will try to take this pitch like not plywood. I take a simple wood and try to apply the load along the fiber direction. The same material I rotate by 90 degree and apply the same load. Will it be the same? The deflections and the stress will be the same? The answer is no, it is not going to be the same. Wherein if I take a steel material, if I take an aluminium, if I take a cast iron, or if I take probably something like a copper, what will happen? Any different directions I do a test, I will be getting the same material property which we call as, have you heard about isotropic? It is isotropic in nature, which is nothing but is a direction independent. But this wood is not isotropic in nature, so what will be the problem? If suppose I design for the load of P for a vertical direction, and for some reasons I try to rotate it and put in the different configuration, it is obviously going to fail, because the P is the load carrying capacity along the vertical direction, but if I put it along the horizontal direction, it may be P by 2 or it may be 0.8 times of P, which I have to identify from my test. So it is not in a position to take up the load for that one. So I have to be careful. These materials are called as orthotropic in nature or orthotropic material. It's a direction dependent on that one. So it's a nice phenomena. It has happened in such a way that what happened? The first layer, as I told you, the load carrying capacity along the fiber direction is much higher than the other directions. So if you carefully look at the cross section, the first layer or first plate, it is aligned along the vertical direction. The second layer, they kept it in the perpendicular to that one. What they would have done is they would have rotated it and they would have connected to that. So first layer is perpendicular like this. The second layer is rotated by 90 degrees, so the fibers will be oriented in the horizontal direction. The third layer once again vertical. The fourth layer is going to be horizontal. The fifth layer is vertical and the sixth layer is horizontal. Why do I do that one, sir? I want to make the load carrying capacity has to be uniform in all the directions. So when the vertical load is going to come, the first layer, the third layer and the sixth layer, 1, 3 and 3, 5, fifth layer, upon these three layers will be taking much amount of the load. The second layer, fourth layer and sixth layer, if the horizontal load is going to come, that is going to participate for that one. So that my failure may be very less than using a classical wood than the plywood for that one. For that reasons, the plywood is made of that one. It is something like, suppose we have a strong person, like what we will do this one, he can take 2 persons. But if there is a person who have a problem in their leg, one leg, what we will do? We need some additional things to hold it. That's what happening here. So it will be very good in horizontal direction, but the other direction, the strength will be very low. So I want to have uniform load carrying capacity in x direction as well as the y direction, hence I will be making that. That is the speciality of that one. Can you tell me, we have a tissues, right? Some of you would have been read somewhere that one, the modeling of a tissues will be very difficult. Because it is not an isotropic material, it is an anisotropic material. What do you mean by that one? I will tell in a while about that. Which is nothing but if I try to pull in different directions, the material properties are going to be different. Why do I need to study, sir? Already nature gave me this one. Suppose, for example, you know this plastic surgery. So people used to do a lot of plastic surgeries. Suppose there is an acid attack and so on so happens, they will be replacing with the artificial skins. So artificial skin has to mimic the real skin, then only it will work. Otherwise, it cannot go with our biocompatible cases. And typically, you would have seen sometime that one when we do a root canal treatment for our teeth, or if the teeth is completely gone, the people will be using a titanium alloys inside that one. What is the necessity for that one? It should, first of all, it should have a very good strength. The second one, it has to have biocompatible with our human system. The third one, what you need is it should be rust free. So titanium is a material will be obeying all this criteria, henceforth the people will be using. Definitely it will cost a lot, like 50,000 or maybe more than that in order to replace a teeth with the titanium one. But it has a significance to that one. So that way, but the teeth has to have very high strength so that I can bite. But I don't need, the skin has to be that high strength, it has to be flexible. So when I stitch along with this, the regular skin, it has to compatible to that one and it has to grow along with that one. Though it is not going to grow, it has to mix together with that one. So for that cases, we will need to study that one. Once I know the classical skin material or the tissue material, I can mimic that one. For that reasons only, when we do the test, we will be trying to understand that one. It is not going to give the same properties. Different directions will have a different material property. So I have to design the material based on that. Yeah. So I will try to show one presentation, probably so that some of you, those who are sleeping, will be getting up. I just want to mention something like I used to also teach this set of materials in IIT, same course, what you are going to go now. What we will do, we will be giving a mini project in the class. So the people used to take very interest on that some topic, they make a presentation out of that one. I try to show some of them they will try to make something, some of them they try to understand and then tell us about that. So one of the work is something like, some stress analysis of a cricket bat. When you are looking at cricket commentary, some of you would have been listened to that one. The commentator used to say this one is a sweet spot. Have you heard about that one? What is that one, sir? There is a difference between the middle of the bat and the sweet spot. We will look at it, what is happening. So suppose I take this one, this is my one-dimensional model of my cricket bat, and I am trying to hold here. My hands I am trying to hold. So assuming the boundary conditions like this, and this is the place at which it's a 3D case, but I am trying to make a simplified one. So the ball is going to come and hit. When the ball is going to come and hit, what will happen? There will be a force applied to that one, right? So I am assuming that one, the hitting point at which there is a force P is applied. There is another place where P will be applied, and this is the third place. So 1, 2, and 3. Right, sir? So among these 3 points, which one I can use so that I can make to hit the ball to 6 or 4? Why not 1? Why not 1? What is the problem with the number point 1? Remember that in all these 3 places, the P is the force is the same. That's not going to change. What is going to change? The length is going to change. So basically what happens, this P and L1, P into L1, that is going to make the ball to go to 6. Okay. So whether you want to have the length should be less or length should be more. So it has to be more. So if I do at the center of that one, still it's okay, but then I would prefer that one something more force. In other words, what will happen? This P is a constant. What I am trying to keep, I am giving even equal force. That force has to be less. If I give less force, I can hit 6 times. Otherwise, like Dhoni, if I drink 2 liters or 5 liters of milk every day, maybe I may become Dhoni, but I cannot. All the Indian cricket players are not Dhoni, right? So we cannot have the strength like that. So what should we do? We should technically play. Dravid is really a very good technical player. He doesn't have that strength, much strength of that one. What is the significance about that one? This kind of a technique we should be identifying that. Where do you need to hit and how the force is going to come. Though we are made here a simplified one, the ball is coming exactly to the bat, but in reality it is not going to be. It will come with some directions. So when it is coming with some directions, what will happen? There will be a force, it is going to go in the horizontal direction, another one is the vertical directions. So these are some other complexity in the problem. We are not talking about the complexity, just we are trying to understand that what is the physics behind that. So would you prefer to have P? Answer is no. I don't go for that one. Can I go for P, the third one? The answer is yes, okay. So let's take P into L3, that is fine. But still, some of you are telling that, no sir, I don't want to go till the edge of the bat to hit it. What could be the reason, sir? Why is it going to break? More force. This is what we want, right? If I generate lot of reaction force, if I generate the more moment, the P is same, the length is very high, so it will go. Right? But still I don't prefer to have the edge. Some of you tell it is going to break. Why, sir? Why is it going to break? But the material is the same in other places as well.
Moment is high.
Okay.
As you told, sir, fibers will not be present.
Okay. There's one more point I'm looking for that. Do you have any other material after this? There is no material. So all the load will be transformed to the left hand side of that material. So it is better to walk at a time with both the legs rather to walk with one leg. So I don't have any material after that one. So what will happen if the load P is applied in the corner, that is trying to make a crack in the fibers of that one. So I don't go for till the tip. But I will go some way, I have to identify, optimize the place in such a way that the second will be, it is more than L1, it is less than L3, but it is not to the corner, it is somewhere away. So that what will happen when I hit it, there will be a material left hand side, there should be a material to the right hand side of that one. So the breakage possibility will be much less. So the entire load will be transferred to the ball and that is going to fly away for that one. That is the spot what we call as the switch spot. Remember that this is the, like you, the students, third year students, they are trying to do this project. So I tell you what happened. This is the handle, this is the shoulder. Obviously, we will all do mistakes, no doubt about that one, but doesn't matter. It's an atom. So what happened? This is the plate and this is the toe. This is classical cricket bat. So what they have done is, how they have done the project work. Remember that they also take 5 courses. On top of that one, individual 5 courses will have a small project. So that means like it's a lot of work, but it's based on their own interest they are doing that one. Probably some of you can also try. That's the reason I am trying to show this thing. Okay. So what they have done is, we have many of you are aware of this. There's a Chem class, the cricket ground inside the campus. IPL people used to come and then practice there. So the broken bed they went and they took from that one and they made a, in the workshop they themselves made a small cut. Unfortunately it's not looking proper. So you can see this one. When you have the cut, as I told you, the fibers are aligned along the one direction. So the load along the fiber directions will be different from the load along the perpendicular direction. So what do I need is, I have to take the material and I have to do the test. So the first test is what they have done is, they tried to make a cut along the longitudinal direction, they tried to make the cut of the sample along the transverse direction. If it is not wood, if it is with steel or with copper or with aluminum, I don't need to do because it's a direction independent. Remember the stone property kind of a concept. So first they have cut the sample and then they have done the test. So it's like a compression test they have done in the UTM machine. See this one, what is this test versus this strain response for that one. That's the first step they have done. They try to identify something. Then what they are trying to look at is this one. What will be the compressive strength of a material? Yes or no, sir? So I have to identify that when I am trying to apply a force, it is going to crush. Before the crushing, I have to find out what is the load carrying capacity of that one. That's what you are trying to do. You will be knowing later stage that one, you will be plotting stress versus strain in a linear region and get a slope of that one. What is the slope of that one, sir?